The restaurant was almost empty that rainy evening, the kind of night when the city seemed to weep in silence. Amber, a young waitress with weary eyes and an untamed spirit, wiped down the counter for the third time, trying to distract herself from the weight of her own struggles. Life hadn't been easy. Her father had left when she was a child, her mother had passed away far too soon, and since then she had been working non-stop just to keep the tiny apartment lights on. But Amber had something no hardship could take away, a fierce heart that refused to turn cold. That was the night he walked in. The boy couldn't have been older than 13. His expensive jacket looked soaked from the rain, his small hands trembling as he pulled the hood off. He glanced around nervously, like a bird who had lost its flock. His face was pale, his lips pressed tight to hide whatever storm he carried inside. Amber's instincts, the ones that had always told her when someone was hurting, stirred immediately. She offered him a smile. "Hey, sweetheart. You okay? You look like you could use something warm." The boy nodded slowly, not meeting her eyes. He took a seat at the corner booth, shoulders hunched. She brought him hot chocolate before he could even order, the steam curling upward like a small miracle. For the first time that night, his lips twitched into the hint of a smile. "Thank you," he whispered. His voice was soft, hesitant, as though speaking too loudly might shatter something inside him. But before Amber could ask more, the door banged open. A woman entered, tall and elegant, draped in a fur coat that screamed wealth. Her heels clicked against the tile like sharp warnings. The resemblance between the boy and her was absent, no shared softness of eyes, no mirrored gentleness. She was ice and fire all at once. "There you are," the woman snapped, striding toward the booth. The boy flinched. "Do you have any idea what trouble you've caused me? Running out like that, making me chase you down in this filthy place?" Her words dripped venom, but what struck Amber most was not the harshness, it was the way the boy recoiled as though he had heard such tones far too often. Amber felt her chest tighten. She had seen cruelty before, but something about this moment lit a fire inside her. "Excuse me, ma'am," Amber said firmly, stepping between them. "He's just a child. He's shaken up and cold. Maybe ease up on him a little?" The woman's icy gaze snapped toward her, full of contempt. "And who are you? A waitress? Do you even know who he is?" She smirked cruelly. "That boy is the son of Victor Lennox, billionaire and CEO of Lennox Enterprises. He doesn't need your pity. He needs discipline." Amber's heart skipped. Everyone in the city knew the name Victor Lennox. But the boy didn't look like the son of a man who had it all. He looked like a prisoner. "He needs kindness," Amber said quietly, her eyes locking on the boy's. "We all do." For the first time, the boy lifted his gaze to hers. His eyes, blue and sad, met hers with something raw, something desperate. "Trust." The woman hissed in frustration. "This is none of your business." She grabbed the boy's arm roughly, but Amber's hand shot out and caught hers. "Let go of him," Amber demanded, surprising even herself with the steel in her voice. "You don't get to treat him like this. Not here. Not while I'm watching." The woman's lips curled into a snarl, but before she could retort, the boy spoke, his voice trembling yet resolute. "I don't want to go with you. I'm tired of pretending everything's okay when it's not." Amber felt her throat tighten. He was fighting so hard to be brave. The woman froze, then leaned in close, her tone venomous. "You will regret this disobedience." She turned on her heel and stormed out of the diner, heels echoing like thunder. For a long moment, the silence was deafening. The boy clutched his cup tightly, as though it were the only anchor he had. Amber slid into the booth across from him. "You're safe here," she said gently. "Tell me what's going on." And so he did. His name was Ethan Lennox. His father was always away, consumed by business. His mother had passed when he was young, and his stepmother had filled the void not with love, but with cruelty cloaked in wealth and appearances. She belittled him, kept him isolated, treated him like a burden rather than a son. Tonight, he had run away after she screamed at him for spilling water on the marble floor. Amber listened, her heart breaking with every word. She reached across the table and held his small hand. "Ethan, listen to me. You are not a burden. You're more important than all the money in the world. And you deserve to be loved, not controlled." For the first time, tears spilled down his cheeks. But they weren't just tears of sadness. They were tears of release. Amber knew what she had to do. She couldn't send him back into that darkness without a fight. She didn't have wealth, she didn't have power, but she had courage, and sometimes that was enough. That night, after her shift, she walked Ethan home. His stepmother sneered when she saw Amber at the gate, but before any confrontation could spark, headlights swept across the driveway. A sleek black car rolled up, and out stepped a man tall and commanding, Victor Lennox himself. His presence was electric, the kind that made people hush in boardrooms and news channels. But as soon as his eyes fell on Ethan, the steel melted. He rushed forward, dropping to his knees to embrace his son. Ethan clung to him, sobbing into his father's suit. Amber stood back, her heart pounding. She had expected a powerful man, but not a father who looked so desperately relieved. Victor pulled back slightly, confusion flickering in his eyes. "Ethan, what happened?" Ethan hesitated, his gaze shifting to Amber. She gave him a small nod, silently telling him to be brave. And so he was. He told his father everything, the harsh words, the loneliness, the cruelty hidden behind closed doors. His voice shook, but he spoke every truth he had bottled up for years. Victor's face hardened, not with anger at his son, but with fury at the woman he had trusted. The stepmother tried to protest, her words sharp and rehearsed, but Victor silenced her with a single, thunderous command, "Enough." That night, everything changed. Victor promised Ethan that things would never go back to the way they were. Lawyers were called, arrangements were made, and for once, the boy's voice had been heard. He would no longer be silenced, no longer be small in his own home. As for Amber, she tried to slip away quietly. She didn't belong in their world of wealth and power. She was just a waitress who couldn't stop herself from caring. But before she could leave, Victor stopped her. "I owe you everything," he said sincerely. "If you hadn't protected my son, if you hadn't given him the courage to speak, I might never have known." Amber shook her head softly. "You don't owe me anything. Just love him. That's all he needs." Ethan ran to her, hugging her tightly. "Don't go. Please." Amber knelt, hugging him back, feeling the warmth of something bigger than herself. "I'm not going anywhere, kiddo. I'll always be around if you need me." And so, a bond was forged that night, not by blood or wealth, but by love and courage. A waitress with nothing gave everything she had, her compassion, her bravery, her voice. And in return, a lonely boy found family again. The city light shimmered through the rain as Amber finally walked home, her heart lighter than it had been in years. She had no riches, no mansion, no fame, but she had done something that mattered. She had reminded a child that he was worth protecting. And sometimes, that was enough to change a life forever.